All right. SummerSlam. Guys and girls, understand what we just got here. We got exactly what we expected. Let's make this clear. I'm saying it right now. Was this a good show? Yes. Did it have flaws? Boy, did it have a lot of flaws in it. I will get to the ads because there was a lot of them. But taking away from the ads, taking away from what was predicted, because we know it was all predictable. Everything here was predictable because we knew it was coming. Let's make it clear. We knew this was all coming. If you thought you didn't know, there were a lot of people who knew. I knew what was coming. It was obvious the route they were taking. But even though the route they were taking was known and predicted, it doesn't take anything from it. The reason I'm watching here is that I want to make this really clear. That this SummerSlam was actually quite good. But it was predictable. And in some cases, safe. Because this is what we get from WWE at this point. We are getting a very safe product that is good, but also heavily predicted in many cases, and very advertising in many cases. And I'll get to it right now. Let's get to, well, first things first. Jelly Roll opening the show. Was it good? And you could say, wait a minute, what about Triple H? He opened the show. No, he introduced Jelly Roll. He's the one who opened the show. He opened it. He sang the theme song. It is predictable because they're trying to make this. Look, counting on Jelly Roll getting his album and his song, really getting some advertisement, which would be, understand, we had about 9 advertisements, counting Jelly Roll trying to advertise for his own song and album, along with the WWE merchandise as well. Here we go. You talk about Jelly Roll, then you got Straight Talk, you got Slim Jim. You literally had Manscaped they're literally shaving the head of Apollo Crews. You can see that Baron Corbin rubs his head. You can see that Alpha Academy comes out. You see that, what the fuck did I witness when it came to Odisse taking a Manscaped bald shaver and starts shaving his stomach and going, yeah. And you can see Baron Corbin and Apollo Crews going, I don't think we should be here. That is like, what? Then we get Slim Jim with Bianca Belair, as well as, well, Bianca Belair, LA Knight, and the passed away Macho Man Randy Savage. They still have his likeness, they still have his video, and they used it. And not even talk about Sheamus drinking hard tea. Because here, Jelly Roll, Straight Talk, Slim Jims, Manscaped, Prime, because we still was advertising for Prime all throughout the night, where people were either slamming the Prime cart into things, opening it up and drinking it, and it's being shown by camera. You also had the WWE merch. You had Valorant also being advertised with, and if I remember correctly, Rey Mysterio, Rhea Ripley, I believe Damian Priest was there. Cody Rhodes was in Valorant with guns, aiming and shooting, along with vodka, as well as C4 energy drink. And I don't even know if I missed anything. I probably missed something. That was at least 10 different advertisements scattered throughout the entire show that a lot of times really felt really out of place, and it broke immersion of wanting to watch wrestling. And on top of that, we got 3 hours of filler from 1 o'clock all the way up to about 6. No, not 3 hours. When did they first start it? Was it 4? No, it was 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Was it 1 o'clock or was it 2 o'clock? I think 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And they ran that all the way up until SummerSlam started. All that was filler. All that was advertisement. All that was video packages. Oh, I didn't watch it. I couldn't watch it. That was too much for me. That would have gotten me tired. I might have fell asleep. And I understand about them analyzing what's going to happen, but you made it way too long. And that's not even talking about what's in the show itself. As you see the title of this, Betrayal for All. Because we have 3 betrayals that were very important to the general story of, well, Judgment Day, as well as for, well, you can say a little bit of the bloodline, kind of like betrayal, but then it's not betrayal. But let's start with the opening. Rhea Ripley, who was so freaking over, who looked great. But I'm not going to lie here, because I had thought about this for quite a while. I even wrote it on my notes, even before the match happened, when I saw Dom. Something was irking me, and I'm going like, wouldn't it be typical that WWE does a double swerve, and we get Dom betraying a Rhea Ripley? And we got a good match with Rhea. Supposedly, she got a shoulder popped right out of place, and she had to keep trying to pop it back into place and keep wrestling. Dom was there. Dom was supposedly in her corner, trying to encourage her, trying to get her to understand you got to win. And at one point, Rhea just was all full of emotion, because that's what this was all about. Her emotions that Liv screwed her arm up and she was gone for months. Her emotions that Liv was trying to take her man. And she decided near the end of the match, and it was a good match. Liv Morgan did an actually decently good job. I know not everyone likes Liv when she goes in the ring, but I've always felt that she's always been a good wrestler. Sometimes she became a very good wrestler. Not a great one, but good to very good. She's always shown that. And seeing that Rhea Ripley decided she wanted to take her out with a chair and Dom tried to stop her, that is when I realized, I knew, because I already speculated, I even wrote it in my notes, as I said. I wrote it in my notes, what would happen if Dom turned on Rhea. But when that happened, I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming. And I'm saying, when are you going to happen? When are you going to happen? And then you could see Dom did it. And once he distracted the ref, the chair was brought in. Oblivion was done on that chair to Rhea Ripley. And you see Dom smiling. You knew, there you go. It happened. It happened. I knew it was going to happen. And it happened. And when it was all said and done, and you hear the commentary team say, I can't believe Dom did this again. This is exactly like last time. I knew that was it. And Dom turned to his new mommy, who now calls her Daddy Dom. He puts his hand on her cheek, and they do the tongue dance routine that every person wants to do with Liv Morgan. They want to do that dance routine. They want to go, oh, that's what they want with Liv Morgan. They want to do the dance routine with her tongue. And Dom got it. And you can see Rhea just, I think I got a shot of it. It's in my face, how angry she was, and some black lipstick was on her teeth. There was no way to deny that this was what we knew was going to happen eventually. We knew that something might happen with Dom. We knew that something might happen with Rhea. And we knew that something might happen with Liv Morgan. We knew something. We didn't know what it was. But I always felt that Dom going with Liv would actually be the wisest thing to do. Because if they're going to separate the Judgment Day and break it up, they got to give Rhea Ripley a reason to leave Judgment Day or be thrown out of Judgment Day. And there you go. You had to do it with Dirty Dom, the Daddy Dom now, and his new squeeze, Liv Morgan. It had to be done. Second, the IC Championship. You got Sami Zayn versus a Braun Breaker. I'm going to tell you, honestly, I did not see this outcome any other than Braun Breaker winning. If Braun Breaker had not won, I would think there's something wrong. If they are building for Braun to get the IC title, they had to pull the trigger now. If they did not pull the trigger, then you know there's something going wrong. And Braun won. It was a very competitive match. I didn't have a problem with it. I can always say that Braun Breaker has always been a good wrestler, and Sami Zayn made sure he looked very good. And in the end, Braun won. He did. Was he a little rougher than I think he needed to be on a Sami Zayn. I think he might have been a little too stiff. At least 2 times during the match, I think it was just slightly a little too stiff. But it doesn't mean it was bad. It was just how it was. But I can tell you, I'm not surprised. It had to go down this route, and it did go down this route. I'm glad it did. Now, there was something I forgot to say when I was talking about the advertisement, because I just remembered. When you saw the refs, when you go to, I forgot which ref it was. I think it started with Liv Morgan's match with Rhea Ripley. You got the refs, and also Seth Rollins did this, had an ear cam. They had a cam right here watching the ring, and you could see it remotely. No, I got to say this right now. I felt very disorientated. If he was holding a camera, it would have been easier than seeing him on a head, because when you see people having a face cam or a head cam, not talking about a chest cam, that's something different, but a cam that's here or somewhere here, a lot of times the way the movement can be very jarring, and if anybody got motion sickness, you're going to feel it. So you could tell that they only did it briefly, and I'm sure they're not going to do this too often, if ever again. But that kind of made me think about how the camera work was during the show. And they went back to Vince McMahon's era. Anytime there's a punch, anytime there was a punch, you can't tell me that didn't happen. And there's someone there who is talking about how the camera work in TNA is, he doesn't agree with me. My friend, you know who you are. That leaves me the damn sonnet. TNA was doing this in many of the matches. That happened, and you can't deny it. You try to talk about it, and you'll say, I don't agree with you. I'm sorry. They were doing it. And now WWE, you can't tell me that didn't happen for most of the matches. They kept zooming in when there was a punch. So someone decided to go back to that era where they think cinematically zooming in is the right way to make excitement at home. I don't want that type of excitement because it takes away from how the cameramen can do their work correctly. They usually do a wide shot like this, and you get to see it all. They even do a kind of a goldfish type of effect where you can get even more of the entire arena, and it looks more orbital, which is actually quite good for certain moments during the match. But every time you almost see a person get punched, the zoom in is very annoying. I don't know about anybody else, that's just me. Next, the U.S. Championship of LA Knight and Logan Paul. Now, the vid pack was actually good. Even though it was a repeat, it was the one I felt that was the most important next to Bloodline. Because we need to see how far they're going to go with Logan Paul. Now, there were 2 thoughts in my head. 2. The first one is that there's a possibility they will not give this to LA Knight. Because they know they're making a lot more money with Logan Paul than they would be with LA Knight, even though he's extremely popular. They're getting more money from working with Logan Paul, keeping him as champion through Prime and anything else they've done and worked with. So it is obvious that that would be one of the reasons why he would keep the title. And I was hoping not. And I want to make this clear to you guys. I have seen Eli Drake for many years. I've seen him for at least a decade, easily. Or maybe more than a decade. I've seen him when he was in TNA, before it turned to Impact Wrestling. And I always felt when it came to him that he had it. The only issue was that he was not a ring general yet. Even though he had been working in the business for 10 years almost. He just needed more refinement when it came to working in the ring, which he solved. He is the best packaged individual I've seen in a long time. He's using what's needed from The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's taken a little bit of them and then added his own attitude of who he is. And honestly, he is one of the best people. Look at JD. Let's make this clear. And Just Alex. When he ended up in NXT, they didn't have any interest in him. They didn't care about him. They thought he was nothing. Then he went to the main roster, and they realized, also, they saw a little bit of an NXT. They said, I don't see anything in this guy. But he won them over because he's that damn good. And that was the other thought I had, that they had to give him the title because he's so hot right now. They would be no better than Vince, that he wasn't built by Vince if he was still there. And because he wasn't built by Vince and he's so over, Vince would bury him, keep him away, and then they may bring him back repackaged like it was with Maximum Male Models. But at this moment, he was so hot, getting him the title was the wisest thing to do, and they did the right thing. He needed to win, and he did win. Yes, there was a lot of shenanigans, particularly the bang to the face with some brass knucks around the neck, and some interference with Logan Paul's entourage again, but he did win. Now the question's going to be, and this is a very interesting question, what now with Logan Paul? Because does this mean Logan is done for now? Because he doesn't have a constant contract. He has a contract where he periodically shows up on WWE TV. Now, is he going away for a while? If he's not injured, is he going away for a while to take a break, and then he comes back and then he does something else? Maybe go back after LA Knight, which makes the best sense storyline-wise. But it's going to be a big question. How long is he going to be away, and if he's going away? Because there's a good chance after this SmackDown, we'll be getting something. I don't know what, but it's going to be a big question. Next, Nia Jax versus Bayley for the undisputed WWE Championship. I'm going to tell you this, and I don't say this often. This was a well-done match. You had Nia Jax, who I've checked to see if there's been any injuries lately or any type of rumors about them, and it seems that she seems to dial back what she usually does, and so far, no one's been injured, which is so good. Because it has been known for years that she injures women. And she also injured one man, which was R-Truth. Messed up his ankle because she just shoved him around. She had been a very sloppy pro wrestler. And yes, I'm not against the woman. But she needed to rework and retool her ring set. Particularly as she messed up her knees. And had double knee surgery, I believe, at one point. When she was gone and came back. So at least it looks like she has improved enough that she's not generally hurting women in the ring now. Seeing that Tiffany Stratton on SmackDown got a Money in the Bank briefcase that was like a accessory. All pink with a strap. And she made it very clear to Tiffany, you want to stay my princess? Don't cash in. If you cash in, the princess goes away. And that's what we got. We got the princess coming out near the end of the match, which I won't say was perfect, but I will say, at least when it comes to Nia Jax, they have presented her well as Queen of the Ring. She has worked generally well in the ring. She's had her moments where she looks flaky or mess up in the match, but it's been basically consistent. And this match was consistent. You saw that she was dominant. You saw that when Bayley could not get over, she could. And look what happened with Bayley at one point. She had Nia on the second turn rope. She picked her ass up. And I was so terrified that as she walked her away from the ring ropes and she wanted to powerbomb her, that if she did this wrong, she could blow out her knees. Because let's make it clear, Nia Jax is not a light girl. That girl is over 2-something pounds. 200-something. She's like $150 or something. Or $140 or $150. And when you look at Bayley, she ain't small. She's not a small girl. But you worry that she might not be able to carry that much weight on her, because that's dangerous when you do it with someone way heavier than you are. And you're trying to walk them to make it look good as a powerbomb. You can blow out your knees. It is dangerous sometimes for people. But she managed to do it. But Tiff comes out, distracts, and Nia wins. Nia is now the new WWE Undisputed Heavyweight Champion. I believe that's what we got. Unless it's the WWE Champion. Not Undisputed. The WWE Champion. I'm fine with it. right now you got a good storyline that's going along with Tiffany Stratton, and I know Bayley's not done with Nia Jax. That's not going to happen. It's not done. And seeing these three working together is fine. And I know people said many, many months ago, seeing Tiffany team up with Nia Jax, I was not for it. I did not believe it should be. But I will state this right now, and I've always, if I make a mistake, I'll eat crow. I am glad it actually happened. Now, does this continue? I hope it will. It's not perfect, but it is well done. So whoever said Tiffany working with Nia was going to be a good idea, I will tell you it is now because of the way they booked it. So there you go. Next, when we get Raw, we got the match many people were wondering, was it going to be the sleeper match? Drew, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins as the guest referee. Many people believed this was going to be a sleeper match, and it was. It was a sleeper match. Seeing that Seth made a very open match. He wouldn't like to say, go ahead, beat the fuck out of each other. I don't care. I'll enjoy it. And seeing that he kind of egged on each of them, saying, is that all you're going to do? You say you're going to kill one another. What are you doing? I'm waiting. And pretty much that's what we got. Seth was egging them both on to beat the living snot out of each other, which was fine. We got a lot of work outside. Eventually, Seth was like, you know what? I'm not even going to count. He's laying on the ropes. He's like this. He's saying, you know what? I'm not even going to count. Go ahead. Oh, wait. You guys are doing this. I'm supposed to count. Oh, I got to tie my shoelace. He kept messing around, making sure they have more time outside. Eventually, it did come to a head sooner or later in the ring. Because once the pins were supposed to be done, both of them were thinking he's not doing his job when he is. And eventually, Drew pulls from his trunks the infamous wristband of CM Punk's dog and wifey. Sooner or later, this was going to come to fruition, and that thing kept going from one hand to another. It went from CM Punk's hand, from Drew's hand to CM Punk's hand, and then eventually you got Seth holding on to it because it was on the ground. He picked it up like most refs would. He put it on his wrist to keep it out of trouble. CM Punk looked at him and said, what are you doing with my damn thing? He said, look, I'm the ref. I'm doing what I need to do. I'm doing my job. Do your job. Finish him. And this is where the betrayal of CM Punk is, because CM Punk, the reason I botch on CM Punk betraying himself is that it was obvious it was going to happen. But it depended on how much emotion that Drew was going to give and CM Punk was going to give, as well as Seth. Seth, who hates them both, but wanted to do a proper job, he knew that Punk got screwed. And you can hear Drew say, count, do it, you hate him too. And he counted. And when it was over, he felt disgusted because he don't like Punk. He hates Punk. He hates Drew. But he respects Punk a little bit more than Drew. And he hated that he had to count the way he did, the way it ended. And honestly, this betrayal was good. In the end, what do we see? Drew put the bracelet back on, kisses it, looks at CM Punk, who's laid out, going like that. That's where it went. I have no problem with it. It was done very well. This was done, set up very well. It was portrayed very well. We had a lot of time where they didn't need to worry about time, like getting counted out, and a lot of leeway from a Seth Rollins. Next, Gunther versus Damian Priest, the other betrayal of an actual person. Now, Damian Priest was mad at Dirty Dom for what he did and even confronted Finn saying, you do this? And he said, I didn't know nothing, big man. But later, right before his match, he says, I'm sorry. I should never explode on you. That's not your fault. Because Damian's getting ready and Finn is supposedly looking for Dom. But he didn't. I'm sure he didn't. The match itself was good. Hell, Gunther got chopped so hard in the chest he started bleeding, which was good. It really added to the match. I'm not going to tell you I'm a big Gunther fan. I'm not. I'm not a big Gunther fan. But I'm not going to tell you he didn't do a good job here. He did. And in the end, the person that screwed over a Damian Priest was Finn Balor. Finn saved Gunther when he was about to get pinned. He wasn't supposed to come out, which he did. Then he saved Gunther. And you could see Damian wheels were turning when he realized, and look, let's make this very clear. Damian is from New York. He's from the Bronx. And even though I was not born in the Bronx, I was born in Manhattan. We New Yorkers, we have this kind of switch that goes off. When we get betrayed, we don't give a blue fuck who you are. We don't care what's in front of you. We think blood. We want to take your head off. Well, depending on which borough you go to, because this is actually, because I've experienced it. It's not for every New Yorker, but I got to say this. If you're from the Manhattan, you give off nothing but an attitude, but you will kick someone's ass. If you're from the Bronx, no, let me say this first. If you're from Brooklyn, if you piss somebody off, they will beat the living fuck out of you, laugh at you, curse you out, and then you're done. Because they don't care about any of that. They will curse at you, they'll laugh at you, they'll beat the shit out of you, and then you're done. In the Bronx, it's a little different. They will curse at you, laugh at you, beat the shit out of you, and then they'll laugh at you again afterward. And then they'll kick your ass again. But not as bad, because they want to make it look good. Brooklyn will get it done. The Bronx has a tendency to get it done, but they like to play around. They like to be a showman. And that's where Damian Priest came in. He's a showman. And as he's grabbing the gullet of a Finn Balor, Gunther decides to promptly whoop his ass. And he loses, and now Gunther is currently the new champion. This is what we got. He's the new world champion. It's what we knew was going to happen. We knew Gunther was going to win. We've always known Gunther was going to win. This is the direction they've been going to for a while. When he became IC champion, we knew this was the direction Triple H wanted to go. We knew it. So we can't deny it. So now it's done. And now, the betrayal of Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley is complete. The question's going to be, how are they going to restructure Judgment Day if it's still going to exist? I do believe it will. It's going to be with Liv Morgan, Dirty Dom, Finn Balor, Carlito, and the JD McDonough. It's going to be that, at least for a little while. Until maybe one day they will completely implode it. But this is just me. You guys can tell me below. Do you believe they're going to continue? Just say it. Now, final match. Solo Sikoa versus a WWE Undisputed Heavyweight Champion Cody Rhodes. Let's make this clear. Everybody that needed to be there was there. The Gorillas of Destiny, Tama Tonga, Tomaloa, who still has the eye patch, came out during parts of the match, the final part of the match. KO came out. Orton came out. I knew sooner or later it was going to be one of three people that are going to come out after they came out. We were going to get a Jacob Fatu, who's going to back up a Solo Sikoa because he is the enforcer. Then you're going to have either Jimmy Uso or Roman Reigns. Did not know which one. But we've known for quite a while that Roman was going to come back, and there was a possibility that Jimmy will come with him, or it would be Jimmy who would come with him. Didn't know. Many people thought Jay would. I don't see Jay. As I've said myself multiple times. Hang on. As I've said multiple times, I truly believe the true head of the table. It's not Roman. It's not Solo. It's not The Rock. It's Jey Uso. I've heard JD over and over again say that him and Jimmy are going to come back together. They're going to take out the Gorillas of Destiny. They're going to do that. And you're going to have Roman Reigns, who's going to take care of Solo. I don't know who's going to be able to take care of Jacob Fatu, but they'll probably find some relative, if he's not already there, that's going to deal with it. Or to have maybe Sami Zayn help out in that situation as well, which I think would probably be the best to be able to deal with it. But I still state this. Even though I know for a fact they won't go down that route, which they should go down that route, because sooner or later, and I'm saying this now before we get to this, when it came to the final part with Roman, to truly end the bloodline. The story itself, once everything is settled, it should be Jay. Jay is the first person brought into the bloodline. Jay was originally slated to become the tribal chief. I truly believe he should become tribal chief. And when he does, he disbands the bloodline himself. Because he's the one who first was brought in. He's the one who truly loves family. He's the only one that will truly understand how to take care of every relative there. Because it won't be Roman. Or basically, if you do it right, Roman will not be the one who's going to care about everyone. And it's not Jimmy. It's not Jacob. It's not Tamaloa, or Solo, or Jacob Fatu. It's Jay who sees family for family. But that's just me. But when we saw Roman come out wearing a shirt OTC, I don't know what it means. They'll say it sooner or later. I didn't see the after post show, so I don't know what OTC means. It'll probably mean something. We see him run to the ring. Well, actually not run to the ring, walk to the ring. He jumps in the ring. He Superman punched Solo Sikoa and basically done. He's done. And he gets 3 crossroads for his pleasure, and that is Solo Sikoa. And I know, I'm saying it now, I know about Jacob Fatu when he tried to splash Cody and possibly hurt his ankle. Hopefully it's not broken. When he did that splash, I saw it hit the edge of the table as it imploded. Because as you know, those tables, those commentary tables, they crunch in, the sides go, and the front pops. And his ankle hit that as it popped. I'm hoping he didn't break his ankle or fracture it. I'm hoping he's alright. Because once that happened, he was screaming. He was throwing chairs around. He was angry. And I'm hoping he's not hurt because he just got in WWE. I'm hoping he didn't fracture or break anything. But Solo lost. Roman got what he wanted. He walked away. And Cody's still champ. Now, what does this really mean? Good question. I have no clue. I don't believe the bloodline's done it all with Cody. But because Roman has now appeared, the question is going to be, are they going to have Cody and Roman work together for a little bit before Jimmy comes up? Because that's what I think is going to happen. Sooner or later, Jimmy will come back. He will work with Roman. And I know for a fact that after that, they're going to have him talk to Jay. Both Roman and Jimmy will go to Jay eventually. But as I said, I truly believe Jay is the true tribal chief. It's not Roman. It's not Solo. It's not The Rock, who will also come back once his injury is healed, because he's also injured. The question's going to be, will they really go there with Jay? Because I think that's where they should go. The true tribal chief is not the final boss. It's not Roman. It's not Solo. It's Jay. But this is just me. It was a good show. But there was huge amounts of advertisement. And the camera work did not make me feel good. Dink, hit, dink. If you like it, more power to you. But I didn't. And then that camera that was on the ref's ear, oh, that made me feel sick. It made me motion sick. But that's just me. Peace.